Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Campion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truthseekers. Thank you for your generosity and support. Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Now there's a great way to support these broadcasts and show your support. Please be sure and check out our merchandise store. Links to our 2 merchandise online stores are in the links to this video or podcast. The Amazon storefront ships super quickly in the United States, Great Britain, and in many more places. Amazon may not ship to your country or location. If that's the case, hit our second merchandise link in the description and visit our Redbubble storefront. Merchandise from our Redbubble storefront ships worldwide, but may take longer than Amazon. We've got a great deal of super high quality merchandise for you to choose from, including t-shirts, phone cases, sweatshirts, and even pillows. The feedback from our products have been overwhelmingly great. Quality products and fast shipping. People all over the world are buying some merchandise and showing their support of the show. Praise the cash! Praise the cash! Praise the cash! We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, who are buying some merchandise and helping us to continue this journey. Thanks for being here. This is Truthseekers with your host, Stephen Campion. Please rate, like and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truthseekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat room during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truthseekers. Truthseekers.
Greetings, friends. We are live on Truthseekers. This is episode 7, Ghost Hunting with Rachel E. Hoffman. It's funny how things work. I just happened to be scrolling through Facebook, and for one reason or another, I found something called Paranormal Expeditions some time ago. Sounded good to me, so I clicked on it. And what I found was this interesting girl who runs around investigating haunted locations. Her content is just interesting to me because she brings in a lot of history and tells the historical side of who lived there, who the ghosts may be. And sometimes she's in these beautiful Victorian locations. Sometimes she's in places that look like no one's lived there for 100 years and are falling apart. There's something interesting about that voyeur thing, just like being able to look into this girl's world has been a guilty pleasure of mine. And I've been keeping up with her through Facebook. Before I forget, I just wanted to make sure that I share this. Sometimes I get a little busy during the show with all you guys in the live chat and everything else going on. And of course, it's not going to let me share it now. I'll come back to that. Let me see here. Actually, I'll do it through Chrome. 1 second. One second, folks. Before I forget it. Okay, here we go. Let me just get back to this. I wanted to share her Facebook page before I forget. So that you guys too can visit her Facebook page. Make sure you like her Facebook page. If you like anything paranormal, ghost related, you want to make sure that you like her Facebook page, because I, for one, I can't tell you how much I enjoy watching her go and check into these haunted places. And she's doing a rare thing now, which is field investigations. You know, a lot of people call themselves a paranormal investigator and they sit on the internet. She is at the location, checking on the stories, interviewing witnesses. It is amazing. And I think that you guys would really enjoy supporting her. So check out her Facebook page. We have it up on the screen here. And we're going to come back. And without any further ado, we're going to bring in our guest tonight, Rachel E. Hoffman. I've got a ton of... let me see here. I've got some notes. I've actually got notes here and questions. I'll try not to get sidetracked. And folks, let's welcome Rachel Hoffman. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I can't tell you how happy I am to finally get to talk to you. I got a lot of questions, but the first question that I had was, oh, you're in your bus.
Yeah, I'm
Are you in your bus?
Yeah, I'm in my bus tonight.
That's another great. I have this cabin, and my second choice before building the cabin was to convert a school bus. Rachel has this awesome school bus that she converted little by little, and also shared that journey. And what an amazing journey that was, right, Rachel?
Thank you. Yeah, it's still a journey. It's still going on. I'm still, the electric and the plumbing and stuff, and a lot goes into it.
Yeah, I followed a lot of schooly Facebook pages, so I know what kind of work that is. The other big question that I wanted to have for you was, hold on, let me see. Oh, there we go. That's probably better. Now I could see you much better. Hi. So, how did you get into all this ghost hunting stuff? And when did you start? And what? Because you're like obsessed with this stuff, kind of like I'm obsessed with certain things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like people say they're born into things, and I think sometimes we are, our fate twists in different ways. But I had an imaginary friend when I was younger, and her name was Maybelle.
Oh, this is I couldn't believe this story, folks. I'm going to let her tell it, but she had this is an amazing story. So she had an imaginary friend when she was younger. Go ahead, Rachel.
So I had an imaginary friend, and her name was Maybelle. And when I got a little bit older, we actually found her tombstone in my yard. and we had to scrape the moss off of it. And my family was like, how did you know her name was Maybelle? Because it was underneath the, the heavy moss that we scrape off pretty much every year. But my imaginary friend was actually buried in my yard.
That is a little scary. And were your parents freaked out, or did they think maybe you somehow saw the gravestone earlier? Because she's got pictures of the gravestone, and your dad was into this stuff too, right? So maybe he kind of got you started off. He seemed like a cool guy. He's like charging crystals in his front yard and stuff, right? He's a little new agey, but cool.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We're old agey. It's something that we've always done. And we're Native American. So we have a bunch of totem poles in our yard, a lot of overgrowth in our yard, as you may have seen. So we were the only ones who ever lived there. So it was very like almost virgin ground from the time that Maybelle was buried over there. So we're like her adopted family.
Oh, before I forget too, Rachel, this is totally unrelated to your appearance, but the people in the live chat will understand. Yesterday, we did this kind of strange show, and everybody's been joking all day on Twitter related to that show. And just out of respect for my guests tonight, I see people in the live chat. Nobody's done it yet, but please, guys, no jokes about the subject matter yesterday or anything we've been joking about on Twitter, because she's a female guest, and I don't know if she'll get the joke or understand what it's about yesterday. So I wanted to ask you about this Victorian house, which is the last sort of thing on your Facebook. You've been there like 10 times. Can you tell us a little bit about that house and its history and why you keep going back there?
That house is absolutely enchanting. I have been there through projects helping the roof stay on and intact throughout the years. I've tried to lend myself back to the paranormal and kind of go and do these lectures and give all the proceeds back to the Historical Society or to the locations. And the Victorian Mansion has always been high on my list of things to do. It was on my bucket list initially, and I felt totally blessed that I was able to go in. And when I went in, I was surrounded by all females. And I had done a few productions now that haven't really made it to fruition over the years. Stories about Maybelle and different things like that have been recorded. And one of the sessions were actually recorded there. So I got to meet the ladies, and we have a really tight bond after all these years. And I've watched the house be developed in the accurate direction to keep it growing and to turn it into a bed and breakfast shortly. And each room is so amazing. I hope that each person that, wants that and that's on their bucket list gets a chance to go there. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's like a Victorian house that they are fully restored, right? Like piece by piece. Like every room looks like it's out of the 1800s.
Yeah, and they did an amazing job. Restoration is never easy. Getting things back to looking like they're from the early 1900s can be a difficult process, and they did smashing. It's just beautiful.
And can you tell us a little bit about the ghost activity there?
Each and every room has its own enchanted story. There was a man that actually spontaneously combusted in one of the rooms. And it was, you can smell the burning. I mean, when you get in there and you really get in the environment and you get in the, each room, you can actually kind of relive the past, and it comes alive in all your senses. You can see it, you can smell it, hear it, feel it, so, each room had its own little kind of component. The Burning Man was one room. The basement, the pelvis of a young girl was found in the lower chimney area.
The skeletal remains, right? Yeah,
right.
And they knew it was I heard somebody ask you in that video, right? They knew it was a female because the pelvic bone is different in a woman. I learned something that I had no idea. So now I know a little bit more forensic science. And
amazing.
And what else is going on in there? You said every room has something weird, right?
Yeah, every room has something weird. And there was a room that was meant for the children. That was a nursery that was later, kind of renovated. And me and my sister were in there, and she was 6 months pregnant. And the doll that didn't talk actually said mama when she picked it up. So, and she's a skeptic. So she was, thrown for a loop.
I'm not a fan of creepy dolls. I don't like creepy dolls. No, definitely not.
Not on your list.
So do you think it's past residents of the house that is the ghost activity? And that's really a big question I was going to ask you. You are one of the people that believe that ghosts are departed human spirits, right? That maybe
I
are.
do. I believe that ghosts are made of their own kind of DNA. I'm actually writing a book on quantum physics that's related closely to why we are able to see this kind of undissolved matter that is a ghost. We're not able to indefinitely say what it is, but we can definitely say that it's material of some kind.
Wow. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think? I've read a lot about some of these haunted houses that the activity is not human spirits but demon activity. Have you run into that much? Because
I
that's
have.
scary. That stuff is scary. I grew up and like The Exorcist scared me so much. Like, and all this demonic possession and oppressed houses. I grew up with a friend whose father was a Christian minister, and he swore that the parsonage, or the house that the minister at that church stayed in, was oppressed, not possessed, but oppressed by demons, because there was some kind of activity going on in the house that they couldn't explain, knocking and shadows and weirdness.
I noticed that too. It's funny that you say that, but a lot of people that are on the Bible Belt seem to experience a lot more demonic activity. But a lot of people also ask ghosts to throw things, break things to make themselves known. And then as soon as they do, they're like, oh my God, it's a demon. So, I mean, demon aggressive ghosts, you ask for something to be thrown at you and then it gets thrown. It doesn't make it a demon necessarily, but I have seen different activity. Burn marks on people that are scratches that seem to come from the inside out. Injuries on children, that's very common. And I can see that, there's bite marks that are from like what looks like a small child. We've uncovered what seems to be demonic activity that disguises itself as a child. So giggling, laughing,
Sure, yeah. And
luring you in.
and you've seen this kind of telekinetic stuff thrown across the room and kind of weirdness like that?
I have seen a lot of activity that can't be explained. And fortunately, I always have some kind of a camera crew or some kind of equipment running when this is going on. So I have, 13 years of heavily validated experiences.
Wow. And do you believe that you've encountered some activity that was demonic and not human deceased spirits? And how do you as an investigator know the difference?
I can definitely feel a difference when I enter into a house that potentially has something deeper going on. I noticed that the energy it can be freezing cold or very hot. It always maintains an uncomfortable level when it's something that's not human. Lorraine Warren, a predecessor of ours in the paranormal, used to call it inhuman. And that was her word for it. And so a lot of us have adapted that. And it makes sense because these beings were never born. They never lived and they never died. They just existed in almost a different realm. So they weren't human ever.
Okay, so they were never incarnate spirits. But
Right.
haven't I read somewhere that like some of these demonic entities will pretend to be a deceased human
Yeah,
to
I've
sort of
seen that a lot.
manipulate people?
I have seen that a lot especially with Ouija boards. A lot of people don't do the proper procedure to open and close, and they open a doorway. And I do hear a lot of feedback coming back that, it was something dark pretending to be their Aunt Martha. So yeah, it can be pretty bad.
And you mentioned that Lorraine person. Is that the investor Conjuring?
Yes, that's her. That's it. She's the main character, but she was the one the stories were written after. And
Yeah, she seemed like an interesting lady. I have a couple of books either mention her or talk about some stuff that she was involved in with her husband. Didn't they both investigate this stuff and they kept like haunted objects in their house? That's
yeah,
it's a little crazy.
she was amazing. Ed and Lorraine Warren. I've investigated with her, and I've had the pleasure of being in her home and in the occult museum with the Annabelle doll. So that was when it was a full working museum, and I have several pieces. They used to allow us to go through and film and everything else. So I was extremely fortunate at the time because I know that they've cut off that activity since then. It was in Connecticut, and she used to bring us over to Ed's grave, in the Stepney Cemetery. And, we actually caught orbs with her and Ed in the picture. And it was like, I used to print them every year and go back and give them to her and have a spaghetti dinner with her. And it was all very normal.
Oh,
to
that's
talk about ghosts
cool.
and
Yeah,
demons and
that is cool.
it's
And
like
did
every
you,
day over spaghetti dinner type of thing.
I'm wondering now, did you talk to her about this? I think it's Haunting in Connecticut and Annabelle. Did she feel those were accurate depictions, or did they just Hollywood the story up too much? Because I love those
So
movies. I thought they were great.
Yeah, they are. I have live interviews with her where I'm asking her basically a week after the Annabelle movie was released, before they even realized they were doing the next movie. I think it was The Conjuring first. Before they realized that they were releasing the next movie, she actually had done an interview with me only like a week after it had been let out, and she let out parts of the story she wasn't supposed to, and but she also did say,
Cool.
other than the stairs where she's falling down the stairs, that spiral stair, obviously she couldn't fall 17 stories and live to tell.
Yeah.
So that was Hollywood for sure.
And they still have that Annabelle doll at their home, or
right now the Annabelle doll is on tour with Tony Spera, the her
sort of sideshow guy.
Her son-in-law. Yes. So he's been married to her daughter for quite some time. And so now he kind of carries on the legend and lets people see it and view her and tell the story.
Yeah, I don't know. That is just a creepy. The whole story is crazy. And so, do you believe that a spirit or a demon can possess an object like a doll or like a Dybbuk box? That's another story that I think I'm going to do, because that's an amazing story.
I do believe that we can actually put life into something by loving it. So I'm a big believer in like an inanimate object having life, only because we're able to. For example, if you ever had a necklace from your grandmother and you lost it and suddenly the necklace found you again, it's because the object actually knows that it belongs to you. So I do believe that we can love something and cherish something enough to actually almost breathe a heartbeat into it. I know that I've lost things that mean something to me, and it's like I feel like somebody died.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it can be terrible.
Yeah, it can be common with cars. It can be common with, and I see people haunt their vehicles. Oh, no, that's fine. I see people haunt their vehicles. I see people haunt their jewelry, haunt things that meant something to them, haunt their houses. Houses are just a big object.
Well, I have a question here that's kind of a weird one. I always see you go into these haunted houses like totally welcoming all this experiences, like you're just fearless. And I got to tell you that some of those places and things that you've experienced, I think I would turn around and run to the car. Has there ever been, and I wanted to know, has there ever been one where you went, I'm getting out of here?
The only ones that I've ever gotten out of there was when I ran into like homeless people or ran into somebody. Sure. Yeah. So like the living scare me more than the dead. But
yeah, it's funny you mention that. When I was a kid growing up, there was this big, huge abandoned church, and it'd been abandoned. The roof was caving in, and like us kids used to like rip the wood out of the like basement windows and get in there with flashlights. And like there was a homeless guy in there, and me and this girl were in there. These pigeons flew. We ran out of there.
It's like something out of a movie. You'll never forget it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll never forget the pigeons flying in this big chapel, and they scared the crap out of both of us. We got out of there. But then we were in the other part of the church, and there was like a homeless guy sleeping in one of the rooms or something, and we weren't expecting a human, Yeah. So we got out of there right away.
That can be pretty scary. You want to be on guard with stuff like that. And I go into a lot of these places by myself completely. So, I do it for the experience and also for the activity. And also it's hard to pin people down to get them to go to these abandoned places with me. They're like, hell no.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very intrigued by what you do, but I don't think I want to go with you, especially some of those creepier places you've been. You've been to some places that look like, totally abandoned and beaten down and run down. Do you just kind of follow leads that people give you for places to go check out and see what's going on there?
Yeah, there have been times that I have done that. I've been invited to a lot of places for charitable causes. After I was on the Travel Channel, I got really lucky and had a lot of people reach out to me and ask me to come do lectures or, do little things for their building and their location. And so when I did, they gave me access afterwards. So
Oh,
anytime I
cool.
came, yeah, so anytime I came back, I was allowed to come in and do tours and kind of have like, free run of the place, and it's been amazing. So a lot of opportunities did open up to me. um, Going into places, it's really hard to have people like rationalize with you when you're saying, hey, I want to come in and do a ghost hunt. you
Yeah,
know
I was gonna be like, I don't know about you. Yeah.
they hang up the phone like right away, like goodbye. So now I say I want to do a historical research on your building more than anything, so that they're not spooked out by the activity possibly. And then
Well,
whatever you catch, you catch.
yeah, and I have another question here. I wondered about restless spirits, and do you think that some of this activity is restless spirits that maybe didn't finish something, or they haven't? I mean, is that the belief that you subscribe to, though, that ghosts are sort of earthbound and trapped here between one realm and the next, or what do you think about this? Are there restless spirits waiting on Earth still?
I actually have a unique perspective on that, but I just think I don't really believe necessarily that we're ever stuck here. Actually, when my grandmother passed away, I think she like went to Saturn. She was like, I was kind of like trying to see what she saw, but we're not really earthbound at all. Really, we're only bound by what we believe. Like a lot of people think that you have to die somewhere to haunt that place, but the fact is that you're free. Your spirit is finally free. You're no longer bound to this meat suit, and you can kind of bounce from place to place. We're not really, stuck anywhere. I do believe in there's a scar in the universe. When someone gets murdered or when someone is taken quickly, a car accident, unexpected death, that there are times where we'll go back to the same place at 3 o'clock every day, and their spirit will be present. The sound of their death will be in the air, but it's really
Ooh.
not them as an intelligent spirit. It's more residual. Like that's what we
It's like
call in
an
the paranormal.
it's like an echo of some kind of emotional energy or something like that.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
a
I've heard
perfect
that.
way.
I've heard that before.
And the spirits that I run into, like Maybelle, she's intelligent. She was 3 years, 5 months, and 8 days old, according to her tombstone, but she's mature now, and I can talk to her, and she actually has conversations with me. So she actually is intelligent and grew up a little bit. Whereas some of these spirits that I run into are more that echo that you describe.
Hmm.
And it's just like walking through a spider web, like you just happen to walk through that space, and catch that activity during that point.
Oh, and that leads me to another question I had on my list, and you set me up perfectly for it. I wanted to ask you if you still talk to this imaginary friend, and what's that like now that you know that she's a deceased spirit? Like, how do you, I don't know, deal with that in your brain? Like that you had an imaginary friend. Now you know it's a deceased spirit. You're able to speak to her, communicate with her still?
Yeah, I still do. Yes, I was 30 years old the first time that I held a digital recorder and actually used it, and she was the first voice that came through. She was, and I recognized the voice from my childhood, and
Ooh,
so
so you got some EVPs?
yes,
Oh, if you still
so
have them, you got to send them to me. I'll play them on my show. I want to do a
yeah,
whole show on
definitely.
EVPs. That's
Yeah,
another one of my research projects lately. I'm
yeah,
not sure though. Some of that stuff seems like it's baby monitors or walkie talkies.
and also there's a method in audio. I became like, I don't know if there's really an expert in the field or not, but I learned through an expert that there are ways that you do it. You can't really walk around with your audio recorder because you catch a lot of the from your jeans. And I've heard people like actually pretend to make up like words, and I just don't buy into it that much. Until you put your recorder down, you can say, which room you're in. Hi, I'm at the Victorian Mansion, I'm in room 1. You
Hmm.
put your recorder down. So there's a way to do it, and then you run it for 5 minutes, and then you play it back immediately. It's called a burst session, and it allows you the most accurate, because you remember every little detail of where you were. If somebody walked behind you, if somebody coughed, you're very much in the moment.
Wow. And so do you think that some of these ghosts or entities are able to, what do they do to get their voice on there? Manipulate the electromagnetic spectrum somehow, or manipulate the recorder, or actually create an audible sound that is actually being recorded?
I've actually heard drips before, and the unique thing that we can do now is we can stretch out the audio. So I've actually heard like running water, and when I stretch out the audio, it's like, hey Jack, it's me." Like, I mean, it's a whole huge sentence that, yeah, it's huge. Like, so they are working at a very much higher speed and higher level than we are. And if you're able to view your audio instead of just listen to it, and you can see the sound waves, you'll notice that there are times where there'll be a little hiccup that you didn't hear, that you're not reacting
Mm-hmm.
to. And if you go down and you like kind of quarantine it and stretch it out, you start to realize there's a whole sentence inside that little blip.
Well, that's creepy. And did you find this stuff later, unless you do that burst session where you find out right away, right? Because I know somebody that did these EVPs, and he would take hours and hours of this stuff and then take it back and analyze it later, you know?
Right. And people do that. And that's smart to do, just in case that there's that one jump scare, that moment where somebody's like, hey, I heard that at that moment. The problem with hours of audio is if you do an 8-hour session somewhere, that's hours and hours to review. That's really, it's a whole, you can only do so much before you start getting like tunnel vision with this
I
whole
do.
process.
I was a musician and ran a studio, so I agree with you.
Yeah.
Except in my case, it was trying to mix terrible punk rock bands to sound good for 8 hours at a time. Like, why am I singing out of key? Because you did, bro. You know? Yeah. So, I have a question from the audience that I think is a great one, and this is from Super V Fun Cat. She says, "Has she had a spirit or strangeness attached to her after leaving, and if so, from where?"
Yes, so I have had quite a few of those. We call them paranormal hangovers when we get them, and they come from different locations. But I would say the worst one that I had was, I was the only team to investigate James Whitey Bulger's bar from the old Triple O's, and he was the second most wanted criminal in America at the time when I did it. And when I went downstairs, I noticed that there was this face of a little boy that looked mummified in the corner. And instead of, when the lights trick your eye, instead of it becoming like something that was an object, it became more and more real, and it looked like a 3-year-old boy. And there was rumors that he had had younger children there that he had murdered. There was 26 bodies that were put through this basement area, and I believe that he was one of them. And I had a 3-year-old at the time. And so that both haunted me physically and mentally, and I actually got physically ill leaving the place.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was my one and only time where I actually physically vomited and got sick from this apparition showing itself to me. I think it was both because I knew the truth. These are true crime stories.
Yeah, Whitey Bulger he was a bad person, man. He killed a lot of people. So there has
A
to be some
lot.
kind of dark energy around him or his spirit if it's hanging around, I would assume.
Yeah, he was alive at the time, and he was.
Oh, he was still alive. Yeah, right. He's still alive, right?
He was. Yeah. Well, no, he's dead
He's
now.
dead now, but he was alive at the time. Okay.
He was alive at the time. People were actually like calling me crazy because the Winter Hill Gang is down there, and we were kind of like going down there filming and making a really huge fuss over that.
Yeah, like I said, you are fearless, girl.
Thank you.
You are fearless. Like,
Thank you.
let me go hang out with some mobsters and some demons and ghosts. We have another question from the live chat. Rachel, and I don't know what this is. Have you ever heard the parting music? I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is exactly, but I can assume maybe like as we're leaving a place. I haven't really heard parting music. I don't know if I'm using this in the right context, so excuse me. But when I'm leaving a place, I do notice that sometimes the levels of activity on my equipment will spike. It'll be quiet the whole time, and then we'll get ready to leave and pack up, and all of a sudden things will start spiking up because, they don't want us to leave. They want us to stay where we are and still come, enjoy the space. But as far as music, I'm not sure I've heard that.
Yeah, I've not heard of that phenomenon. But I have another question for you is, what about magnetic anomalies? Because I've read that in a lot of these places, if you take like a magnetometer into one of these haunted locations, they go crazy. And there's some scientific evidence that suggests that magnetic waves can affect the human brain and even cause hallucinations, auditory or visual hallucinations. So, do you think that may be an explanation for some of this activity that people see? That it could just be magnetic, I don't know, waves or radiation interference?
I think there is a lot of times that these things can be debunked through different situations like that. I know that I've caught Morse code on my equipment before. So we
Oh,
have
that's
different.
weird.
Oh yeah, I was on a ship. I was on a naval ship, but it just happened to be something that was beeping through the air. And here I thought the naval ship was coming alive, you know. But the truth is, the truth is we have a very sensitive system, and I have heard that the magnetic force will cause, you know, for example, if I threw my equipment together and I ran it over a boiler, the equipment's going to go off because that's its own source of energy.
Hmm.
And so sometimes we're able to trick ourselves into believing there's more energy. I've been in a field thinking that there was nothing and didn't realize there was towers all around me. My equipment was going crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, what
Oh,
is
so it
this?
was like cell phone tower interference or something like
Yeah,
that?
definitely. So there's all kinds of interference like that. That's the absolute truth. Debunking it and seeing if it happens the same each and every time, making sure that you do it again and again, see if you get the same read, that's the way that you can tell if the interference is, substantial.
Okay. And I had another question here. Do you believe that people can communicate with their dead relatives in one form or another?
I think so. I think if anybody can or wants to communicate with you, it would be a blood relative, especially somebody that's close to you. Um, I know that there are times where people will write to me and ask me, how they would know if their loved one made it to the other side. And I'll always tell them to ask out loud for a sign, to say, please give me a sign. And you'll know the sign. Sometimes it's butterflies, flashing lights, a feather, a heart shape, whatever you held special with that person that you lost. They'll give you the sign to let you know that they made it. And not just one, but once you realize the signs, you'll start seeing them again and again. And it adds a level of comfort to know that they're still with you.
Wow. And I wanted to ask you about some of your future plans. I mentioned your bus and how you were converting this bus. Is that going to be like the Scooby Doo van for you? You're going to like hop in the mystery wagon and go check out some ghosts and demons? Because I
Yes.
think that's awesome. And I'll send you some Scooby snacks just for fun. You're going to go all over the country in that thing, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm going to do about 20 trips a year once everything's kind of bolted down. I'm getting the electric paneling going. I'm constantly pretty much moving it around to make sure that it's not going to fly all over the place when I take a longer trip, keeping it kind of up to standard. It's a diesel engine.
Oh,
So,
great. Those are the
yeah,
best. Those are the
yeah.
best. They never die. Change the oil. They never die.
Yeah, it's definitely a hardcore little special bus. I'm very blessed to have come upon this deal, and I've welcomed a few other people to the schoolie community since I've gotten this bus. They love it. I mean, it's cheaper than an RV. You can insulate it and decorate it however you want, so it's amazing. And I do intend on using it for the paranormal. It's gonna have a little bit of magic stuff in it anyway, because I'm all about that.
Yeah, I watched as you were doing the things, and I had like deja vu of my cabin because you were putting floor down, and I remember learning like tongue and groove floors and trying to put walls up, and like my cabin's this huge project that's going to be going for another year probably, but slowly but surely. We have
Yeah,
another.
it's a labor of love. You don't hurry it, don't rush it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying myself. We have another question from live chat from Reemsey who says, I like to talk to dead loved ones with a Ouija board. Does Rachel use Ouija boards at all?
I do. I do. I love them. I know that in the paranormal that it's like a huge thing, but movies sometimes will scare people and we think that Ouija boards are going to blow up and do this, but really they're no different than any other equipment. We're using millimeters, obelisks, we're using pendulums, old age and new age equipment. I like to use Ouija boards by myself because I feel like it's very for show sometimes, and I enjoy just getting the answers from my pendulum or Ouija board on my own. So I communicate with people
Oh, so
Especially.
you use a pendulum too. I've seen somebody do that. I saw some demonstrations that I was not entirely convinced, but pretty curious about, like the fact that you could use a pendulum to sort of do divination or communicate with the spirits, right?
And some people use it every day. It's called scrying, and what they do is they don't even get up out of bed before they ask the pendulum what they should do next. And so it's a huge, it's a huge thing. I'm a witch, and so I use those old age things to kind of bring about the beginning of my investigation. I always started out with the pendulum and old age stuff, and lots of candles, and asking for the space to open up, and it's a respect thing.
Wow. And we have a question again from Super V Funcat. She saw your tattoo and asked, "Is she First Nations?" And I believe you said you were Native American, but can you unpack that a little bit and explain that?
Yeah,
You're Native American.
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I am Native American. This is my I want to call it my grandmother. I never saw an actual picture of her, my great grandmother.
Beautiful.
Um, thank you. So I went to the artist and I asked him to kind of draw something that was in that realm. I'm Lipan Apache, and so I think like 20, 25 miles outside of the Mexican border in Texas is where my people are originated from. And we made our way up here to the upstate New York area, and that's actually where my family stayed this entire time throughout the course of life. But we live very much the Native American lifestyle. My dad carves totem poles from scratch, and I grew up without electricity and running water, and we were very salt of the earth type of people, and still
No,
are.
no running water. Wow. So
Yeah.
you had an outhouse and like a dry cabin, that kind of thing.
It was a creek. Well, we call it a crick where I'm from.
Crick. Yeah, yeah. I grew up my parents had this cottage in Jersey, and before it had running water, we used to have to go down to the crick to get our bath every night.
Hmm.
Getting there with a bar of soap and go at it.
Yeah, and my
But,
grandmother boiled the water. Like we had hot baths, and we thought that was very luxury. It was a very luxury thing for us. I thought they were rich. Like they had so many beautiful things, so many stones and shells and perfect things, and I had no idea. I knew nothing.
well, it's when you grow up with something, you don't know that somebody. I remember like going. I grew up kind of poor, and then I got a little older, and like going to see some of these houses up in the suburbs where they had like 8 bedrooms and a pool. I was like, damn, these people are rich. Like seeing the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. And the more I saw them, I was like, wow, I was just completely blown away by CDs and all the rest of that kind of fun stuff, like
Yeah,
technology. Just,
these people over here got electricity, right?
yeah, I felt like we were aliens. Like it was like they were delivered from space or something. But
And you had no
uh,
electricity. You had like gas lamps and that kind of stuff growing
gas
up.
lamps, yep. My grandmother was born in 1919, so a lot of the stuff we had from back in that era. And I wish I still had that kind of stuff, especially living in a bus. You know what I mean? You realize the
Yeah,
value.
yeah. I'm getting back to that kind of living. Like my cabin is slowly getting. I just got a shower. I built it out of rocks, but it's a shower, and like every little luxury there, like being able to use water from the sink with an RV pump. That's how I did that
Yes.
with a tank underneath. Like, oh my God, thank God I don't have to go outside to wash dishes. But one of the things the cabin taught me is how little do we need to be happy? Because when I started there, I had gas lamps, no electric, no lights. And we got internet there now, so we feel like, wow, yeah. And
Yeah.
I had a comment from Reemsy in the live chat, which is a funny one. Reemsy says she is a nice witch. Yeah, she's a good witch. But still, I got to tell you, friends, when any female tells me she's a witch, I try to stay on her good side just in case, because I knew a vengeful one when I was growing up.
Oh boy.
A vengeful, nasty one.
Oh no, those are the
Didn't
worst
start
kind.
that way, but she became that way. And ever since then, if a woman I don't make fun of witch. You know how sometimes people will say they're a witch and people kind of, joke about, yeah, she's a witch.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm totally respectful. Good for you for your beliefs. Please don't hex me.
See, I'm from Salem area on the East
Oh,
Coast.
wow. That's cool. Yeah.
So we are all witches, male, female, like everybody really. It's a very common thing. And it's funny because I'll walk through Salem sometimes. Now I'm like traveling around the East Coast. But, there are times where I'll just, be walking through there, grabbing my crystals, doing my normal thing, grabbing my candles and stuff. And people will run up to me that are from Salem and they'll be like, "Are you a witch?" Like, it's an immediate thing. And I think, even if I'm not wearing anything discernible, I'm just walking around in regular t-shirt and jeans, people catch the vibe and they understand and they know. I think it's really a vibe.
Oh, this is another great question from Reem C. Does Rachel combine her witchcraft magic with Native American spirituality, or does she keep it separate?
I do happen to do both, only because sage is such a great tool in the environment of the paranormal, especially when you're trying to charge good energy. And it is something very familiar to me at the end of the investigation. Not every location lets you burn sage. So we sometimes do like a condensed spray, or I have lots of different sages, and I always use sage at the end of investigation. It's funny because all my witch friends that I just went to the Victorian mansion with gave me gifts that I'm taking pictures of later. I set it up on my altar of sage wrapped in roses, sweet grass, different feather fans to use to brush over people to rid of negative energy. And
that's what sage is supposed to do when you burn sage, right? It gets rid of the negative energy.
Yeah, it does that by charging positive ions in the air. So and that's actually the truth, like scientifically proven.
Wow, I got to get some sage then. Can you like burn it on people that are negative around you?
Yeah, I mean, I do it. I try to do, if somebody's doing something negative, I really just do more binding than anything, like bind their bad habits and bind their bad stuff. But if somebody's around me and they feel like something's attached to them and they want to have sage run over them, I know a lot of people that they love it. They love the feeling of it. And,
wow. And we have another great question. Let me get this one up here. This is from Becca Smith. Becca, I don't think that I've seen you here before. Welcome to Truthseekers. Have you ever seen images that weren't really there and felt they were supernatural, not connected to any other spirit activity? Do you believe this can be a negative omen?
Well, I have lots of paranormal equipment running at the same time. And sometimes we have different thermal images that'll show up. And I did have a thermal image that I took 9 snapshots. And it looked like, to me, what to me was a ghost. It was completely void of color and completely blue. I don't think he was negative. I actually think the opposite. He was there guarding the building. And when he realized we were taking pictures of him and I was snapping shots of him with the thermal camera, he actually reacted and ran away. So it was.
Well, I'd like to see those images. I'd like to see.
It's on the bio channel.
So is it on the bio channel?
Yeah, Bio's My Ghost Story, Middle Burning Town Hall. You can actually see him. It's almost like a moving video because I snapped it so close together, and it shows the time frame, and you can see him react and kind of move. And yeah, it was amazing. And thermal images are the most highly regarded paranormal evidence out there in the field, because they can't be faked.
We have another comment, and this is Brandon Young. Brandon Young, real classy, Brandon Young. Come to my show. Real classy, bro. This is not a dating game show. I live near Salem, is Rachel. You can't blame a guy for trying. He says, I live near Salem. Is Rachel single or married to some powerful sorcerer?
Oh,
real
boy.
Classy, Brandon. Thank
you. No, I'm not married.
So, I didn't know if you were single, though.
I am actually dating someone, but I'm not single now.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Brandon Young still throwing you compliments. Thanks, Brandon Young.
Thank you, Brandon.
I can't. Here, Reemsey says, I can't burn actual sage smudge sticks because of Toby, but I burn white sage in an incense burner that Toby can't knock over. I think it works the same.
Is Toby a cat or a small child?
Wait, is Toby a cat or a child?
Either way, it's smart to keep that away from Toby if Toby's going to knock it over. I've seen people do. I have the cages for the for incense, so I just put the small cones of incense inside. And
I did that when I was an altar boy. We had those little cones of incense, and you put it inside, and you got to walk with it in front of the priest. And you got to be careful of those priests while you're walking in front of them?
Oh my gosh.
So I had some other questions, but I don't want to keep you too long. So I'm trying to get to like the I had them in order that I thought of importance. I asked you about your future plans. You just got cast in a movie. Can you tell us about that? Because that's exciting, and I liked you already posted some. You didn't waste any time. You're like posting. Was that like a costume shot from the movie you got cast in?
No, I just got my costume kind of like the rundown yesterday by email. So I thought it'd be a fun little teaser to show the stockings and stuff like that. I'm not sure how much detail I can go into as far as the character and things like that, but the movie is Axe to Grind. And I'm very excited and humbled to be a part of it and to have been asked to be a part of it. So the producer actually found me on Facebook, and it was just one of those things. I was just so honored to have been asked at all. And when he approached me, we had been talking for some time, and he went over some of my paranormal videos. And, I've been in a few movies, in one movie, the Ghostbusters, and on television a few times, but most of my experience has been reality.
You were in the Ghostbusters? You mean the one with the girls, the reboot?
Yes.
Okay. Now I gotta watch it again and find. Do you remember where you're at in that?
I'm in it a lot. So they asked me to come back like 14 times.
Wow. Now I gotta see this. I'm sure that I saw it, but I kind of fell asleep through it. Wasn't a huge fan of that one. But I hear they're rebooting it again.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the reboot, to be honest. Like I can't lie, I cried when I saw the
Ectomobile, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I got emotional. I was like, oh my God, just like I remember. It's been sitting in the board all these years, and they're going to bring it back out. It's like a part
of our childhood, so it's...
I hope they bring back the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man somehow. That's all I have to say.
Me too.
Friend?
I had minimal acting experience, but he had seen some of the jump scare stuff that I had done for...
I've done some indie movies. You don't need acting experience.
Oh, good.
You hope for a good director. I had one guy that kept on telling me to do the same line over and over and over again for like 4 hours. I felt terrible. Like I didn't know what the guy wanted. I tried it. It was terrible experience. But
that's the worst.
No, hopefully you won't have that kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
This guy was a control freak, and he wanted it a certain perfect way. And then eventually, even other people on the set were telling him it's no different from the last time he said it. Yeah, I don't know.
I was very impressed with my scene that I had been given. So I'm very excited. I can't share too much, but I was very excited about the opportunity and, the whole thing. And it's just a totally different vibe than I've ever done. And I'm 40 years old. So this is a really exciting thing for me.
Wow. Yeah. And listen, friends in the live chat, if you have questions for Rachel, put them in all caps. All caps. This way I know that there's a question for Rachel. I also wanted to ask you about the Dybbuk box, because that's one of my interests. Do you know very much about this Dybbuk box? And do you think this is a true story, or is this some made-up legend?
I think that a lot of people like to add lore to the equipment. We have to remind ourselves that some of us that are involved in the paranormal have been experiencing things through microwaves, like through willow trees, through small things that weren't meant for the programming and the communication with ghosts. So I do lend credibility to the Dybbuk box, but a lot of people are trying to make it like Pandora's box. Like it's the biggest thing, and everybody's trying to make it this big demonic thing. I haven't had that experience, so I can't say for sure, but I know that just like the Ouija board, sometimes people like to play up these pieces of equipment.
Yeah, there's something about that story that I just love, because it's got a connection to the Kabbalah and to Jewish mysticism, which is always interesting to me. Things like the golem and now this Dybbuk box, because everybody that has this, for those that don't know the Dybbuk box, look it up. Everybody that got this box went through like all kinds of paranormal crazy activity before giving it to the next person or selling it to the next person. And apparently the story is that it has something to do with these women that were oppressed or maybe abused, and they put all this negative energy to create this entity to get revenge on people. So that's the origin of the story. Okay. Somebody said you look fantastic for 40. I agree.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Thanks.
Reemsey says, I am afraid of the Dybbuk box. Zach Baggins says it is the most awful thing. I can come here to look at it. A nasty thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those great stories. So what do you think was the most haunted location that you've ever been? And why did you consider it that?
I feel like it changes every time, but let's see. I have so many. Jeez. Oh boy, you put me on the spot.
Yeah, hard to pick one, right?
So you know what I'll do? I'll tell you the story about Fall River. That is a story that was really close to me. And a lot of people spend 4 hours to 14 hours on investigation. And I spent 60 days on investigation.
Wow, you're pretty thorough and fearless. If I find a haunted house, I'm going there with you. That's what I want to do.
And I went there and I made connections with these women. And the scariest part was that they were dealing with an unsolved murder. So these women, there were 17 bodies found in the Fall River, Massachusetts area. There were the New Bedford highway killings. And I did this whole entire docu-series on it, and it actually won a Chicago Paranormal Film Festival award because the young ladies had actually identified their killer to me a year before the police had forensically proven that that was who killed them.
Wow.
And so yeah, it was amazing. I sold the movie only, so a lot of people didn't have access to it, but I plan on letting it out because I think it's so important that these girls have a voice and they're heard. Initially, I was trying to produce funding for future projects, and it worked great because everybody was really excited for the production, and it wound up playing in the Somerville Theater for like 30 days or so. And you know, a few of the family members had gotten a hold of me, and the sheriff that found the ladies' bodies had gotten a hold of me, and we worked together throughout the remainder of the summer on the project. And I felt so close to them, and it was really scary what happened to them, and it was really scary that it went unsolved that long.
Yeah, you said it was 17 victims, so it was a serial killer, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, and it was they were prostitutes, so a lot of people didn't feel
Nobody
as though
cared. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, the funding wasn't there to check and see forensically who murdered them until, you know, more and more people are talking about it. And it was just sad that, you know, it wasn't funded, and someone must have heard about it and took up the cause for the right reasons. And, you know, it's 20 years past and the person was already passed away, but, you know, it helps the families to lay to rest.
Yeah, because at least they know what happened, you know, well, at least they know that this was the killer and this is more than likely what happened.
Right.
Wow. And so what's your future plans then? You're going to, besides the movie and traveling around in the bus, what are you going to be up to?
So I have my cheat sheet over here.
You got a whole, she's a busy lady. That's why, listen, thank you so much for doing this, because I'm having, you know, this is a new show for me, and I know the numbers may not be great, but we're still.
No, I'm really excited. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. So I have some stuff coming up. I am officially changing my name at this point to Rachel E. Hoffman.
Yes, yes. I redid the graphics just for her today, because today's your new birthday.
It is. Today's my new birthday.
2020. And next year I'm going to say happy birthday, Rachel E. Hoffman.
Yay. Yeah. So this is my official announcement. You heard it here first.
Truthseekers exclusive. We love those.
And so my next appearances will be Gettysburg, July 24th through 26th. It's the Gettysburg Bash. It'll be filled with well, I don't know if they approve the lectures this year, so don't quote me on that, but we'll be doing ghost hunts and tables and kind of
I'm not far from Gettysburg. I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm in Warminster, Pennsylvania. I'm not that well, it's a ride, but it's doable.
I'll have to send you an invite then.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the next one is the Plymouth Paracon, September 25th through 27th, run by Sam Baltrusis, author of 13 Most Haunted and a slew of other amazing books in the paranormal. I'm in 7 chapters of the 13 Most Haunted. And after that will be the Salem Con, April 2021, which is a beloved event. And this is run by Mark Gavrila, a good friend of mine, and we always have a blast down there. So I always encourage people to keep checking back to get the tickets because we do sell out and the hotels sell out. I think that Gettysburg is completely sold out, but you can always check for day tickets and day spots and check back with us. And I just wanted to chime in with the Axe to Grind, and I'll be working with Debbie Roshan and Stormy Daniels in the up and coming Axe to Grind movie. I'm very excited.
You know what's so funny is that somebody said on Twitter when they heard that you were on tonight, somebody said on Twitter that Stormy Daniels is going to have her own ghost show and I should get her as a guest. And then they said, "Oh, maybe I should delete my tweet." And I said, "I don't think Rachel would mind." And now I just found out that you're working with her on a movie. So I guess you don't mind people mentioning Stormy Daniels.
Absolutely not. No. And
that's
and
weird,
actually,
right? That's weird that happened.
It's funny that you should say that because I found out that there's a few haunted locations that we're going to be at together over the week that I am in Oklahoma filming with her. And I was going to say to her, like, "Hey, do you want to, don't think I'm a dork or anything, but you want to go investigate ghosts with me? So thank you."
Yeah.
The awkward silence is broken. No, I love other girls that ghost hunt, and I always encourage women in the field to please. There's not enough of us. We need more girl power.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because it seems to be like a pretty male-dominated field.
Oh yeah, and the girls, we always have so much fun together. We try to twin up. You'll see at the Gettysburg event, if you follow the page throughout the course of the next month, a lot of girl power in there. We love females, and I always love to see new faces in the paranormal.
Well, so do I, because who wants to see some dorkly, pimply face guy like search for ghosts? If I could be watching you or Stormy Daniels, you get my vote.
Oh, thanks. Maybe we'll watch us together.
Yeah, and there was something else that I wanted to ask about. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm trying to read this live chat and I'm way behind here, but I don't want to keep you for too long.
Okay.
I guess I was going to ask you about. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. Go back to my notes here. No, I think I covered most of what I really wanted to cover, and especially about this bus that you've been building. That's amazing. And are you doing that work yourself, or you got a lot of friends helping you?
My friends are like, they keep me alive. They keep me going. I have a friend that's a carpenter that helped me really lay everything out. And I did a lot of it. You could definitely tell it's done by me. I'll run you through all the mistakes and everything. I'm very humble about my mistakes. You know, I have a couple chopped up pieces here and there. It is a labor of love, mostly on my end, but I ask people before I put in floors and electric wiring and stuff because I don't want to burn my schoolie down.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Ruby Funcat says, "I want to hang with Rachel and Stormy. They seem so much more fun than the other ghost guys." Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, that was the other question. Now I know. I skipped it here. I wanted to ask you about these ghost shows because, you know, I started trying to watch a lot of these different ghost hunting shows. And I don't know, I came away with like, if nothing happens, they don't have a show. And it seems like every little bump in the night, every little thing, they just automatically attribute it to ghost activity. And I've seen that you don't really seem to push that. We got to have some activity. Like you go to a place and if there's no activity, there's no activity. You're pretty honest. What do you think about some of these ghost shows? And are they just pushing sort of fake woo to keep an audience sometimes?
I think we could all say that, you know, after a while of being on TV and 20 episodes go by, people are going to expect something. And it's really, I mean, I can understand how much pressure it would be to keep the audience entertained and to continue to. I really have a lot of good luck with little things. But driving home the fact that something doesn't always happen on these investigations is really, really important. I'll be doing lectures and people will be like on a haunted location and be like, "I demand a ghost to come." And I'm like, "Do you normally see ghosts?" And they're like, "No." So I'm like, "You're probably not going to see one on a 30-minute tour with me. This is not McDonald's. You know, the ghosts don't like that."
Yeah, that's kind of like there's actually UFO places that's like, they pretty much promise you the world, and then you go there and you just see a little light in the sky, and
yeah,
I make mothership, and yeah, it's just.
I make them write a disclaimer on all my ghost hunts now. Like this buying a tour does not guarantee a ghost. That's just part of it. Like, you can't expect that. And
Yeah, let's get
meanwhile,
some dude to dress up for you or some projectors.
I
I've done
know, but people
cool
want the real
stuff. Yeah.
experience. They
I've done
want the
some
real
cool
deal.
stuff. I've done some incredibly cool ghost stuff with projectors. I used to be really into that. I should send you a video.
Yeah, I'd love that. I want to see
Somebody's,
that.
somebody's talking about. Oh, no, okay. Well, I don't want to keep you any longer because I know you're a busy lady and I kept you up late tonight in your bus there. It's so cool to connect with you. And thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
doing this. I hope that you'll come back here and give us an update on what's going on because we could use a resident ghost expert here on our show. We've got UFO experts and some other experts. I'd love to consider you a friend. That would be a great thing for me and for our show.
I would love that. Thank you. I'm honored.
All right. We'll be in touch, Rachel, and good luck with all of your future projects.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks, Rachel. You have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
All right. What a fun conversation. Friends, tonight was a selfish endeavor because I really just wanted to sort of connect with this person that I've been watching for quite a while now. And it was an interesting conversation. Now I'm going to turn my attention to the live chat. If you guys have any comments or questions for me before we wrap things up here. And I just want to mention, do you hear that? No more squeaking lights. So thank you, Mario. You were right. Those lights were very squeaky. And I'm talking about these lights here, these weird sort of watery lights. They're cool, though, and I really like them. And I wanted to still use them. So today I spent quite a long time taking these things all apart and oiling every moving part on them. And I think that we solved the problem. There's no squeaking. Now you may still hear this dull hum from the motors. Nothing I can do about that. Maybe I could try wrapping some insulation around them, but I think we've solved that problem. So little by little, these little technical hangups are being taken care of. And I want to thank you guys. I'm sorry, I forgot all about what we were talking about yesterday. And I had a mini panic attack when I realized that we're going to be having a female guest on tonight. That, by the way, you guys know, this is the first time that I've ever talked to Rachel. And I didn't want the live chat to get bombed with comments about yesterday's show and dildo seeking and David Wilcock. And so thank you guys for not doing that because listen, I can tell now that she's pretty chill and I could explain to her why people are making those kind of comments in the live chat, but she doesn't know walking in here. So for all she knows, it just could have been pretty awkward. Now, if you guys want to make comments about dildo seeking, you have my blessing to do so. I'm going to turn my attention here back to you guys in the live chat. Yeah, here we go. There we go. Rick Von Himmlich Spluner. Now that Rachel has left, can we mention the dildos? Yeah, you can mention the dildos all you want. I just didn't want her to get the wrong idea and think that any of those comments were directed towards her. We have to be respectful. Well, to all guests, we have to be respectful, but especially to one that I don't know very well. Like, that's the first time I talked to her. And Super Reamsey, I like this program. Good. I'm spewing. I missed the start. BGs. Oh, and Brandon Young. I was just teasing you, bro. I can't blame a brother for trying, man. God bless that girl's boyfriend, right? Okay, let's see. Nicholas Krupa says, "Hi, Stephen. Any movement up DW's alley?" I'm not sure what you mean by movement. I am preparing for the challenge that we laid out still, and we'll have more on that in the next week or so. I'm also preparing sort of a special report on this Daniel Brinkley. I'm going to do a quick show, hopefully a quick show, maybe tomorrow, that's going to just detail what I think of David Wilcock's new partner in slime or grifter partner, this Daniel Brinkley. And what I find may be surprising to some people. Do I think that Daniel Brinkley really died 4 times and had a near-death experience and came back each time. And by the way, just a correction, yesterday's show, I'm sorry, on my last show, it wasn't yesterday, I said that he died 5 times. That is inaccurate. So here's the correction. We want to be respectful, even to the people that we really don't believe. He did not die 5 times, friends. He died 4 times. And call it a coincidence or not, but he's written 4 books, one for each of the times he died and had a near-death experience. I find that somewhat suspect. Very much suspect. Nicholas Krupas, he just wanted to say dildos. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Six Designs. I have an idea on something to do with the buried treasure. Hopefully as fun as I think. I will submit my entry sometime soon. Yeah, we would love to see that. That would be a good thing to see. So I got to tell you, friends, I don't know why, but I was really nervous starting the show. I think because things were last minute, like just one of those days where like the backdrop was giving me trouble 2 minutes before we went live, and I'm trying to tack it up, and and I actually forgot the phone today, which is in a whole another area of my house. So we're going to skip the call-in line today. I think it was good. Philip Blair says, David Brinkley is more interesting, to be honest. I haven't been watching David Wilcock, but I've seen you guys reviewing him. Okay. David Wilcock said he died 4 times. Then David Wilcock said he died 5. Same show. Yeah, David Wilcock is kind of, he contradicts himself all the time. And I love, by the way, shout out to C.W. Channer. I have been watching C.W. Channer's takedown or analysis of his latest videos. And God bless C.W. Channer, because he watches a 4-hour David Wilcock video, so I don't have to. I can just listen to his analysis, and I love this lie. I'm going to blank on what he calls it, but this thing that David Wilcock does where he mentions a factual thing, and then later it's like the circle back lie maneuver. He'll mention something factual, and I never realized this, but C.W. Channer is dead on. If you watch David Wilcock, he'll mention something factual and cite a good source that's an actual factual statement. And then later, he'll mention that again and throw a lie in there. And he does it constantly. It's going to be a lot harder to keep going with these lie fests with people like C.W. Channer, given the analysis. BG says David Wilcock is a dildo. Yes, he just may be. Oh, he's going to die soon. Well, he's going to die one more time to milk it. You may be right, Super V Fun Cat. I think that this he's going to die any minute now thing of DWs is a setup. That's my theory. I could be wrong, but I think they're setting him up so they can write a new book. He's going to die for a 5th time just so he has material to write a new book. And I just wanted to mention that I agree with a few other people. Like, what? Oh, let's say that 100% of everything Daniel Brinkley ever said was true, that he died 5 times. He's had 5 or 4 times. I keep saying 5. He's died 4 times. He's had 4 near-death experiences and come back from them. Okay, let's take that all as absolute fact. Well, then why should we listen to him about anything to do with Roswell or light bodies? Near as I can recall, he is not an expert in, is it Tantric Buddhism or Buddhism in general, to be teaching people about light bodies. And isn't it interesting, friends, that David Wilcock, here's what I believe he does. He has a deck of cards, and on the one side is the back of the card is just like a playing card, just the face of a, and the front of the card is blank. And what he does is he's got 52 cards, and he writes things on each card, like mass arrests, like light bodies, ascension. And he just puts these cards, 52 of them, in a deck. And when he needs to do a show, he just gets out that deck of cards and lays out cards, right? Random bullshit. Oh, he's circling back to light bodies. David Wilcock, dumbass Super Schmoo Deluxe. You've already done the light bodies and nothing happened. We were supposed to get the light bodies in the year 2000. That's what you predicted. We'd all get these superpowers. We didn't get any superpowers, David Wilcock, because you were wrong, because you're stupid and you just make shit up. Didn't happen in the year 2000. Isn't going to happen and again, he circled back to light bodies in 2012. We're all going to ascend. That's what the prophecies all about 2012 are. And he strung together so much separate nonsense. The Blue Star Hopi prophecy, the Mayans, and his own completely wrong interpretation of light bodies from Buddhism. He strung all this crap together and decided we were all going to get light bodies and superpowers, and telekinesis and mind reading and levitation would be as common as breathing. Didn't happen in 2012, you dumbass David Wilcock. And now he's come back to it. Now he's come back to the light bodies. Friends, he is desperate for new material. He has no material. He's not getting briefings. He doesn't have intel. Every time I hear him say, I've got some new intel. You don't have intel. And you sure don't have any intelligence, despite the fact that you claim to have 180 IQ. You dumbass. Six design. I like the backdrop you got. Totally fits you, dude. You know what, Sixes? I looked for backdrops for literally every night for a week, and I kept going through, putting in different search terms in Amazon, and I found this one, and I went, that's it. Like, I didn't know what I was looking for, but as soon as I saw this one, I went, that's it. And I got another one, which is sort of like a space scene that I kind of like, and I'm going to be using that one at the cabin. But part of me doesn't want to put a backdrop up at the cabin because I worked for a year on those walls, and and besides, it's kind of a novelty. Like, I'm at a cabin doing a live stream show, so I might just leave the cabin backdrop be the cabin, right? Phil Blair, looks like you're hiding out in an aquarium after hours. Yeah, it looks like I could be swimming in here. I like it. Oh, Solar Marshall is here. Shout out to Solar Marshall. How could none of you know about Brinkley? I've known about him since the 80s. He was on Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack. Why is he with David Wilcox? Oh, that's a great point, Solar Marshall. Why is David Wilcox suddenly got a new, let's just call him a presenting partner? Folks, there's a reason that this guy, Danny Brinkley, suddenly showed up in David Wilcox and is all up in David Wilcox shit, living in his house. I don't know. According to David Wilcox, he's dying, and Elizabeth and him are helping the guy, I guess, die. Okay. I don't know if that's true or not, that he's dying. But based on every other time that David Wilcox has lied to me, no one could blame me for assuming that David Wilcox is lying about this Daniel Brinkley being terminally ill. Do we still have time to buy, bury, and document, film our own dildos for DW to find? Yes, I'm not going to put a time limit on my viewers who are burying dildos for David Wilcox, but there are some new rules, and I'm going to talk about them here. If you're going to bury one, you have to email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. Then I'm going to give you a special code, and you have to write that code on a piece of paper and put it in your box of dildos. This is just to prevent Slimeball David Wilcox from saying that he found a bunch of dildos that have nothing to do with my viewers. And, I don't know if he would do that, but I don't want any possibility that there could be trickery or somebody claim, he can't be claiming that he's just finding random dildos. He's got to find dildos that my viewers bury in their secret locations. So email me, truthseekershow, and it's not Truth Seekers Show. It's TruthSeekersShow. One word, @gmail.com. I'll give you the super secret David Wilcox Box of Dildos Challenge code, and you got to put that in when you bury your dildo. This way, If David Wilcock finds that dildo, he'll be able to give me the code and we can check it on my spreadsheet and determine that, yes, he found one of the dildos. Do I think he's going to find a single dildo, let alone my tremendous, huge treasure box full of dildos? Absolutely not, folks. He's not going to find shit because he's a dumb-ass idiot. He's not a psychic. He's not channeling gods like Ra. He doesn't have government insiders. His friends don't really talk to aliens, except in their own imaginations, just like David Wilcock. Friends, he's not Edgar Casey reincarnated, but if he is, find the box of dildos, you dumbass. All this shit you've been spewing for 25 years, and you can't find a single box of dildos that somebody buried? What good are your superpowers if you can't tell where people are burying dildos just for you, David Wilcock? You dumbass. Oh, and that's another thing. Listen, I'm not complaining because I'm happy for everybody that has posted anything about the David Wilcock box of dildos challenge. But a lot of people are posting and not hashtagging it. So please, and then I'm retweeting what they, I'm going to try to retweet what people tweet about the David Wilcock box of dildos challenge and then hashtag it myself. But it would be much better if you're going to post something, you just want a hashtag, and that would be the number sign, and then his name, David Wilcock, and then Dildo Seeker. All one word. David Wilcock, Dildo Seeker. David Wilcock, you're the Dildo Seeker now. I'm the Truth Seeker, David Wilcock. You're a Dildo Seeker. Let's light him up, friends. Let's light him up. Oh, and I did tag his live chat. And I just want to say that, this, first of all, this whole experiment is ridiculous. Somebody sent me an email and said, Steve, I like your show, but this is kind of ridiculous. You're right. Burying dildos for a fake psychic to find is stupid. It's ridiculous. But it's equally ridiculous that this asshole has been allowed to go on the internet telling fairy tales for 25 years and somehow able to buy himself $1 million mansions and $100,000 cars. It's ridiculous. And so is our dildo challenge. I'm not going to apologize for our dildo challenge being ridiculous. David Wilcock's bullshit and fairy tales are ridiculous. The number of times he's been caught lying is ridiculous. The fact that he will not address real criticism about his financial matters, about all of this shady financial dealings that he's been involved in. Why won't you answer questions? He won't answer questions because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want people to know the truth. He's a pussy. Okay, DW's own words, he wants to milk Brinkley before he died. Yeah, this dumbass got caught saying, we're going to milk this. And also, it's in the marketing materials for his new course. Daniel Brinkley may die, but don't worry, we've pre-recorded, so you'll still get your money's worth. Is he worried about his friend dying, or is he worried about selling another bullshit course to another crop of stupid, hopeless people that believe anything that he says? I don't know about you, but if I had a close friend that I've known for 20 years that was dying, living in my house, the last thing I would be doing is trying to sell shit related to my dying friend. I would be caring for and attending and spending every moment I could with my dying friend. But that's just me. And you know what? I think this is hysterical. I'm not a love and light person. I'm not a spiritual guru. But I think most people would agree with me that having a terminally ill patient live with you and trying to sell some shit before he dies, hurry up and sell some shit while that terminal patient's living with you before he dies, that makes you a disgusting, filthy, evil human being, David Wilcock. Nobody would do that except you, you greedy, stupid man. That's how greedy he is. Well, this guy's dying. We might as well milk it while he's living here, sell a new course. BG, CW is a great sport. He read my super chat about Jason Quit. Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I should go in there and super chat him. I think I did do one, but he missed it because he was talking at the time. And it was really, Spooky said something greater than something else. So I put Jason Quit greater than CW Channer, but he missed it. Damn it. Maybe I'll do it as a super chat and he has to read it. Oh, yeah, he wants to milk it. He definitely wants to milk it. He just repeats the same things and goes off on a tangent way too often. Oh, dear. Yeah, I'm way behind, guys. Quits, Super V Fun Cat quits quilts. I did not know that Jason Quit made quilts. And I still haven't talked to him about this. Super V, he makes quilts. That's what he does. That's his like, wow, that's like a dude knitting. A man making quilts. I'm sorry, Jason Quit. You're already Canadian, right? So that like pegs a few points off of your manliness scale being Canadian because you're too polite. But come on, Jason Quit. You make quilts? He's a dwildo. Maybe now I understand why CW Channer doesn't understand Jason Quit. I don't understand some of the stuff he does either. Brad Gray, work in plastic factory, and I made 2 huge dildos, one black, one white, but the white is not the most of wearing in colors. Wow, Brad Gray, send me or tweet me a picture of those dildos if you actually made 2 huge dildos. That would be awesome. Good call, Super V. Sixes Designs. Shout out to Sixes Designs and all you guys here. BGs. I heard him on the 90s Art Bell show. Yeah, I've heard of Danny and Brinkley before on something. And I think it was either Unsolved Mysteries or, God, there was a show, and I can't remember, blanking on the name of it. Oh, The Outer Limits, maybe, or something like that, where they did all paranormal stories. And Danny and Brinkley's story about dying and waking up in the morgue was in there. I'm going to try to find that for my special report on Danny and Brinkley. There's a movie called The Dead Zone with Christopher Walken. It's very similar to Brinkley's story. Brinkley maintains the event happens in 1975. Yes, and not coincidentally, it took him 20 years to tell the story, which doesn't really, I don't know. If I had some incredible prophecies to share with humankind that I got from God and the angels through a near-death experience, I don't think I'd wait 20 years to write it down. But hey, that's just me. The best lie is the one that's mostly truth. I agree with you. Ream C. I wish I had a light body, but I just keep gaining weight instead. You know what, Ream C? I lost 45 pounds not long ago. And boy, ask anybody that's ever lost like 40 or 50 pounds. It's not easy. It took a lot of consistent effort and dieting and switching to light beer. And then here's what happened. I started getting too complacent. Is that the right word? I started getting too comfortable with the fact that I would keep the weight off. So I switched back to real beer, and that was a stupid idea because now I'm starting to creep up a few pounds. Going to have to go back to the light beer. David Wilcock is so boring and such a hoaxer. Why do people bother even talking about him? Because it's fun, Solar Marshall, and it's easy. If you're somebody that likes to catch these frauds and lies, he makes your life really easy. DW, there was very little truth. You could figure out most of it. It's just made up BS. What a turd. I agree. Tibetan rainbow body was studied by David Wilcock. He's borrowed the work of Father Francis Tissot, made it really weird, and passed it off as his own. It would not surprise me. Some people are passionate because they have been burned by the guy, and for part of the grift. Yeah. I thought of something really funny, which is like, I don't know if it's this book, The Source Field Investigations, I think. And that book is filled with stories about Pete Peterson. And quite honestly, I thought that David Wilcock should be forced to give me my money back for that book. And because the book is filled with lies from I've proven that Pete Peterson lied about his entire background. He wasn't, we're not going to go over it again. Pete Peterson had this biography full of all of these bragging claims. One of them that he won the Russian Order of Lenin Award. Folks, you can look that up. That was a lie. Everything in Pete Peterson's biography is a lie. So if David Wilcock writes a book that he says is fact, he's not saying this is a fictional book. He's saying these are all real stories. And we can prove that the guy that's telling all these stories, Pete Peterson, is a fraud, then I think David Wilcock should have to give all the money back from that book full of lies from a lying, fake, so-called government insider that never worked for the government. And David Wilcock, you can't prove you ever worked for the government, you dumbass. In one of your videos, you said Pete Peterson is the only person that ever worked for the CIA, the NSA, and the DIA. Dumbass, David Wilcock. You claim you're some great researcher. A second grader can go to those websites, and believe it or not, folks, you can verify employment. And as long as a person is not in an active undercover position, they will verify employment if somebody works at the CIA, the DIA, or the NSA. Yes, folks, you can do it. And I did it in the case of Pete Peterson. Didn't work at any of those three agencies. So there you go, David Wilcox. It's just one of your lies I busted you on. And it was easy. It was so easy. 3 emails, 3 phone calls, maybe 6 emails, 6 phone calls. And I proved that you just lied through your teeth in a video sponsored by your charitable organization. So you've got a charitable organization that you're paying yourself out of to create these videos. And in the videos, you're lying through your teeth to people. So you want people to donate to your foundation so you can pay yourself to create videos where you can lie through your teeth to people. It's ridiculous, David Wilcock, and so are you. Dr. Death convinced 100 plus people to commit suicide using Brinkley's White Lights, Bliss, Euphoria, BS Angel Story. I did not hear that. You're going to have to explain that one to me on Twitter in a DM, Super V. I'd love to hear more about that. Might you have a link to her channel site? Just a thought, unless she wants privacy kind of thing. No, most of her stuff she posts on Facebook, and I'll post the link here. Hold on. Okay, folks, let me get this up here. And we see her in this shot. Like I said, today was like a guilty pleasure because I got to talk to somebody that I've been really kind of watching from the sidelines for a long time. And it was interesting to get to do that and put, a voice and more of a face to her name and get to know her a little bit. It was fun. And, friends, that's more of what I should be doing with my show and not, it should be fun, right? Tonight was fun. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to share this screen one more time. And this is Rachel Hoffman. That was our guest tonight. What a great girl. Interesting girl. Paranormal Expeditions. And it's facebook.com. Gee, could somebody help me out and copy this and put it in the live chat? I'm not sure that you can put a link in the live chat, but it's Rachel Hoffman. Hold on, friends. No, I'm sorry. You guys know I have a problem. Oh, wait a minute. I can do it on my other screen. 1 second. Okay, now I can see it. Yeah, this eye kills me sometimes, guys. I apologize. Facebook.com/Rachel. And there's no A in the Rachel. It's just RACHEL, Hoffman, HOFFMAN, 916. And you'll find her Paranormal Expeditions. And I'm telling you, you're going to have a good time and please like her page because I think we should support her and maybe she'll come back. I would really like that. And I'm telling you, if you go to her Paranormal Expeditions Facebook page, you're going to see posts about her bus, about her adventures. And she's posting these videos which are like walkthroughs of these haunted locations. It's so much fun watching her. I really enjoy it, and I think you will too. Yeah, so we've shared that. Corey Good have jumped. DW doesn't get a pass with me, that's for sure. He's a con artist. The more people we can enlighten, the better. I agree. Yeah, you guys need new material. We've got the Sarah Adams investigation still ongoing. Oh, I wanted to mention about that. So let me see. You guys are going to stick around for a little while. So here's what I got to do. I have to take a short break. But when I get back, what we're going to do is we are going to give you an update on the strange case of Sarah Adams. Things have to be pushed back, and there is a reason for that. Listen, things are unavoidable, but and there's a few things in relation to the strange case of Sarah Adams that I'd like to update everybody on. And this is really kind of important. So we're going to take a short break so I can attend to something very quickly. It's only going to be a minute or two. And then we're going to be right back and we'll do that. Stay tuned, friends. We'll be right back. Okay, friends, and we are back. Boy, that was quick. I don't know if that. I think that's supposed to fade slowly, not jump so quickly. Okay, so let me get back to the live chat, and then we're gonna talk about the strange case of Sarah Adams for a bit. So, first of all, I just want to say that, like, let me see here. Things take time, and you know that saying, like, life is what happens when you're busy making plans. Here's what I planned. I planned on doing one show with that girl, and have her on, interview her, talk about whatever's going on with her psychic powers, her abilities. But when you get into this girl, there's just, if I want to do a good job, I can't do it in one shot. So I said, well, I'll talk about this strange experience that I had with her for one show. Then I'll bring her on. But then we get into a lot of things happen. So far, I've had 2 more sessions with Sarah Adams. So, you know, I don't want to get into the specifics of the actual sessions that I had with her. But here's what I'm going to say. She kept talking about how she helps a lot of terminally ill patients and things like that, and does a lot of work to help people who are transitioning between, that are terminal. So I wanted to see what that experience is like for a terminally ill patient. So we've connected her with somebody that I know who has an inoperable condition, and honestly, they really have only so long to live. I thought that would be an interesting thing, and we could share that sort of experience with the audience. What is it like for her, an intuitive healer who works on auras and chakras, and she thinks that she can heal people through energy. What is that experience going to be like for a terminally ill patient? Will they find the experience of these sessions with her to be beneficial? So for that, and the reason that all of these things happened with these 2 additional sessions that I've had with her since the first one, her and I have had a couple of really long conversations, and there's just too much to unpack. So she's going to be doing, hopefully if all goes well, she's going to be doing this session with this terminally ill patient on Friday. It's scheduled. I think it'll go off without a problem. Both sides, are aware, okay, here's the date and time. She's just got to call him, do the session. She does most of her sessions over the phone. And after that, I'm going to come back to the strange case of Sarah Adams. We're going to discuss the 2 additional sessions that I've had with her since the first one. We're going to talk about some, let's just say, revelations that I had. We're going to talk about some of the information that I found on her concerning her history. And friends, you're not going to want to miss it. Then people are asking a lot of questions too about, I don't know, people are sending me information. She's selling homeopathic remedies, and that's illegal. People are saying she's selling healing sessions for people with corona. That might not be legal. I don't know. But, I thought it would be good to talk to her manager, this guy Taj, for two reasons. First, this guy seems incredibly devoted to her. I mean, devoted. You know, he runs her YouTube channel and I think her websites and all this other stuff. As I found out recently, he also does her scheduling, and certainly her manager would be able to answer some questions about some of that homeopathic remedies and is she doing healing services for people with corona. And so we're going to have him on and interview him, and then we're going to interview Sarah, and hopefully we'll be able to wrap up the strange case of Sarah Adams. We're also going to talk to that terminally ill patient that she's going to give the sessions to. Let's See Six's design. Daniel James, Dull Honey Twinner, had a bit of a conversation with Edge of Blunder's Ben Chastain. He said to me, I will stand by it. If we were wrong, we aren't afraid to say we were wrong, unlike others. Is he going to say he's wrong about... What is he going to say he's wrong about, though? Oh, the Australian trip and that, was it Peter Slattery? They can never tell the truth for the life of them. They lie nearly 100% of the time. Yeah, those guys, I don't know what to tell you, friends. I can't watch them. I think it's too manufactured and too propaganda fake for me, especially when you know that they're being financed by a multi-million-dollar religious organization in one form or another. And that's my belief. That's might be speculation, but there's a good amount of supportive evidence that I would be reasonable in my conclusions of that, right? So, coming up, we're going to continue to unpack the strange case of Sarah Adams. We've got an analysis of some of Daniel Brinkley's claims. And we are going to do an update on the David Wilcock Box of Dildos challenge coming up. We've got Jason Quitt. Jason Quitt is going to be back to do... We're doing a show on the Japanese suicide forest. And it's got a Japanese name I'm blanking on right now. Just Google Japanese suicide forest if you want to know what I'm talking about. It is an amazing story that I can't wait to bring you. Just as luck would have it, since Jason Quitt is involved in all kinds of paranormal stuff. Maybe it's because he's an interdimensional time traveler. I don't know. But if there's something paranormal, he ends up there. Jason Quitt spent some actual time in this Japanese suicide forest. And I thought, that's great. We had a person that's been there on the ground and witnessed this place, and he's got some crazy stories about that place. So we're going to bring him on. We've also got a show on the Cash Landrum incident we're developing, and we have a show on EVPs we're trying to get off the ground, and a few others in the pipeline. BG's, woohoo. Reamsey. Yay, Jason Quitt. There you go. Leave it to Jasmine Emmerich, who is so studious and knowledgeable. I'm so glad when she's in the live chat, because I know if I blank on something or say something stupid, she'll be there to correct me. Al Kigagara, I think. I'm going to have to find a pronunciation guide for sure before I do that show. Oh, and Sixth Design. Yeah, so this is a pretty famous place. Yeah. So if you guys have any additional questions or comments, wait a minute. There you go. There's apparently movies about that place, a few of them. Yeah, but I think those are fictional movies, but still fun nonetheless. And I want to try to watch those. I found them. I think I found two. I want to try to check those out before I do the show, because it's interesting the cultural context that, that these people have had as well. So if you have any additional questions or comments, please do put them in all caps for me. Otherwise, we're going to wrap things up here in just a bit. Just want to get this. Okay. And there we go. Oh, what just happened? Oh, there we go. Yeah, sorry, friends. I got a little lost here. I started to stream and I just happen to have like a brand new Windows 10 laptop. So that's what I'm using. And I can't tell you how I forgot what it's like to have to work on Windows. It's terrible. I can't wait to move to my Linux system. And luckily, the software we use for the show is all cloud based. It'll work from any browser. So I'm not going to be forced to use this shit show operating system Windows for much longer. We'll be switching. Brad Gray, Honda, Suzuki, Kawasaki. Any more bear sightings at the cabin? Yes, BGs. And I have a video this time, but for some reason I couldn't post it to Twitter. I'm going to figure it out, and then I'm going to be posting it to Twitter. Well, friends, we are coming up on an hour and 45 minutes, so I think we're going to call it a night for tonight. Tomorrow, I'm hopefully going to be doing another show at 10:30 p.m., but I might try to do something a little differently and do it during the day. I'm not sure how good of an idea that could be because I'm going to have the kids here, and that might be, a problem. But it's worth trying because if I could do a show in a day, oh, here we go. Also known as the Sea of Trees, is a forest on the northwestern flank of Japan's Mount Fuji, thriving on 30 square kilometers of hardened lava laid down by the last major eruption of Mount Fuji in 1864. Yes, and most interesting for our purposes, it's called the Suicide Forest, and people go there and kill themselves. People go there and kill themselves so much, in fact, that the government has hired counselors. There's counselors that the Japanese government has counselors that patrol the forest and try to talk people out of killing themselves. Not only that, but the Japanese government also has a team, not one person, not two people, a team of people in their employ. They're paid by the Japanese government, whose sole responsibility is removing bodies from this forest. Folks, that's how many people go to this Japanese forest to kill themselves, that the government had to hire an entire team. A team, folks. It takes a team of people to go through that forest and carry the dead bodies out. And most of the deaths are by hanging, so some of the bodies aren't found right away. It's just a great story. Okay. 6 is design. I have Linux installed, but I use it for clandestine operations. Most of my stuff is on Windows. Yeah, Windows is just easy if you need to get work done. Kali Linux, very useful. I know all about Kali Linux, actually. Naughty 6 is designs. Network testing. Is that the forest with the dolls? No, BGs, that's the forest where all these people go to kill themselves. Sounds like Philip Blair. Sounds like the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, and there may be a reason that some of these places are such hotspots for people to commit suicide, and maybe there's some kind of dark energy at that location, some kind of nexus of dark energy that causes either draws already depressed people there or somehow affects people. Can you proof your cabin like electric fence or something? Yeah, we're looking into it. Mostly I'm going to try bear deterrence, which I believe, as I've already mentioned, is wolf urine. And the fact that I have to pay money for wolf urine to keep the bears away is just kind of funny to me. They sell you this big thing of wolf urine and you sprinkle it around your property lines, and the bears are really, really afraid of the wolves. When they smell that, they stay pretty far away, or so I'm told. I don't know how effective it is. That's what we may be trying. I have young children at the cabin, so of course a bunch of bears running around is a little concerning to me. I saw one last week at the cabin. I thought they nailed dolls to the trees in the suicide forest. You may be right, BGs. I'll look into that, and we'll unpack that on the actual show with Jason Quick. We'll be able to ask Jason Quick because he's actually been there. I think there's a lure associated. I think for real, there could be local legends and other things that are contributing to the story. but you never know. Well, friends, it's been a long day for me. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. It was really fun to talk to this Rachel, who I've been following for a long time. So, friends, thanks for joining me. You know, I'm still on the fence. I'm not sure that I believe in ghosts. I'm really not sure that I believe in ghosts. But one thing that I'm sure I believe, friends, is this: the ghosts of the past speak. They speak if we're willing to listen. So until next time, friends, I'm Stephen Cambion, reminding you that I'm still not sure I believe in ghosts, but one thing I'm definitely sure of is that the ghosts of the past speak to all those willing to listen. Good night, folks.
Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Cambion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members-only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truthseekers. Thank you for your generosity and support. Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Now there's a great way to support these broadcasts and show your support. Please be sure and check out our merchandise store. Links to our 2 merchandise online stores are in the links to this video or podcast. The Amazon storefront ships super quickly in the United States, Great Britain, and many more places. Amazon may not ship to your country or location. If that's the case, hit our second merchandise link in the description and visit our Redbubble storefront. Merchandise from our Redbubble storefront ships worldwide, but may take longer than Amazon. We've got a great deal of super high quality merchandise for you to choose from, including t-shirts, phone cases, sweatshirts, and even pillows. The feedback from our products have been overwhelmingly great. Quality products and fast shipping. People all over the world are buying some merchandise and showing their support of the show. Praise the cash! Praise the cash! Praise the cash! We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, who are buying some merchandise and helping us to continue this journey. Thanks for being here. This is Truthseekers with your host, Stephen Cambion. Please rate, like and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truthseekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat room during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truthseekers. Truthseekers.